Patriots, the Celts, the Revs, and the Bruins. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Please leave the rotation.
Jaylen Brown moving to his left. McDermott slows him down. Shot clock down to 3. How fitting would this be for Jaylen to finish his perfect night with a 3? Woo-hoo!
Man, I put the ketchup on the French fries.
And Jaylen drops 40 in game 2.
All I heard was ketchup and French fries. To go with a 40 burger. 40 beefs. 40. Jaylen Brown, who was snubbed from the all-defensive team, all-NBA team. And you know what? He becomes the first player in NBA history that didn't make an all-NBA team to score 40 points. How about that? And he's done it a couple of times. He's now has multiple 40-point games in the playoffs. He now has 2, tying him with Isaiah Thomas. Paul Pierce has 3. Tatum and Sam Jones have 4. Bird and Havlicek have 5. What a night for Jaylen Brown. All the attention about Jason Tatum and his game and his slow start and this and that. Jaylen Brown comes through with 40 points tonight as the Celtics are now up 2-0 in the series. Let's welcome in Cerrone Battle. He is here with us during post-game. Cerrone. Jaylen Brown with 40, a 40-piece nugget tonight.
Yeah, I expected him to come out guns blazing after being snubbed from All-NBA especially, and seeing all those guys on the list with their play-in rosters and their play-in stats. Some of these guys didn't even make the playoffs, couldn't even make the play-in, making All-NBA. It's disgusting, but good for Jaylen Brown. He sent the message to all the voters that they messed up, but I think he understands that the biggest prize at the end is a championship, and that'll make all that go away. But good for him. He set the tone early, and they followed his lead. And you know, it's another great team effort by the Celtics again tonight on both ends. You know, it was good to see from everybody. Good game.
40 points in an Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that's something there, right? 40 points, 5 rebounds. He was a plus 18 tonight. The only other player with a plus 18 was O'Shea Brissett, who we'll get into later on tonight. But you know, only Michael Jordan and LeBron have more 40-point games in the Eastern Conference Finals than Jaylen Brown. That's big shoes, and you know, what a night. I mean, this guy, you know, Skaz wrote an article on 98.5thesportshub.com just talking about Brown and being snubbed. But one of the things that I think people are missing here is, you know, he's going to get all the money he would have got if he got All-NBA if the team makes the NBA Finals. They're 2 games away from that, but to me, he is criticized for his contract, no doubt about it. He was criticized for his left hand, right? He's missed free throws. He did a couple tonight. Jaylen Brown might have had his best game of his career tonight in this Eastern Conference game.
Yeah, when you factor in importance, conference finals, you know, playoffs, all this stuff, all the pressure. Your running mate got off to a cold start. All you factor all that in. This is one of his biggest games, and he was pretty dominant from beginning to end. It wasn't really not much slowdown from him. I mean, he was aggressive. He took it to him, and that's what you're supposed to do against a team that's challenged defensively. He took it to him all night. He got to the basket. He got to his free throw jumper a lot. Soft touch. Everything was falling in for him. This was a big game, a big moment for him. And it's just a reminder how good this team really is. I mean, it might not be the first time, but I can't think of a team that won 64 games and only one guy makes All-NBA. I just don't understand how that works. So, you know, the Warriors win 60 games and they put 4 guys on the All-NBA team. You know, KD, Clay, Draymond, everybody goes. Steph goes. But the Celtics is always – people are always trying to find a way to discredit every little thing they do. And by leaving him off all defense and all NBA, it just goes back to that. Like, no, we're not going to reward them too much. They still haven't done nothing yet. But you throwing Devin Booker up there who's never done anything. But, but anyway, it's big for Jaylen Brown. He showed up when he had to, did his thing in front of the home crowd. They respected him. They responded to him. He responded back to the crowd. He did his thing tonight. And it just shows them how tough this team is to beat because nobody else out there left really has multiple guys that can go off like this. Kyrie and Luka can potentially, but not the way that Brown and Tatum can do it on both ends of the floor. Like, I mean, they're the best tandem in the league on right now. Best all around tandem in the league, offensively and defensively. And Jaylen Brown showed you why again tonight.
All right, phone number here is 617-779-0985. We'll break this thing down. But really, celebrating the night of Jaylen Brown, it was, as the words of one James Scaramazino tonight on Twitter, Jason Tatum arriving like the red line. Very late, but now is on fire. What a line there, Skaz. Oh, well, whatever. I'm claiming it was you. You sent it to me. I thought it was you. It wasn't his tweet.
That's
but
awesome.
You know what? I'm going to claim it as Skaz's anyways. How about that? He struggled early on. He did. No doubt about
he did.
it. But you know what?
Yeah.
Jaylen carried the way. So it's funny when you look at it, though. Like an off night for Jason Tatum is 23 points, 9 for 20, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he struggled tonight. But overall, this is what he does. Jaylen does his job. Tatum does his job. They get a third score. Bing, bang, boom. Another win.
Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. I mean, it's a simple formula. I mean, Tatum came out flat, cold. What he had 4 points at halftime, and then when it was his time, he gave you 19 in the second half. We criticize him for having, good first halves and slow second halves, but when he has a hot second half, it gets crickets all across social media. He gives you 19 points, shoots. I think he was I want to say he's like 6 out of 9 or whatever it was in the second half, something crazy like that. But he got to the line, couple and ones, hits a 3 that basically sealed it. And he did what he was supposed to do. I mean, he did his thing. He didn't have a game as big as the last one. But you saw in the first half of the game today, that's a bad Jason Tatum. You see the difference? Don't come on here when he's got 36 points and tell me he's bad. What we saw in the first half, now that's bad. That's him not being engaged. And it was on both ends. They showed us that the Pacers were 5 for 7 when being defended by Tatum. He was bad on both ends. That's bad, Jason Tatum. Don't tell me when he's got 36 or a triple-double that's bad. No, what we saw in the first half was bad Tatum. Second half, he did his thing. He got to his spot, hit a couple fades, got a couple layups and ones. He's still cold from 3, but I think those are the only shots he's missing right about now. But he did enough and did what he was supposed to do. That's a good night for most players. That's a really good night. But we have a high, super high standard for him, even though he had a hot teammate that had 40 that he was spreading the wealth with. He's still going to get his criticism. But the biggest thing is this team is 2 wins away from the finals, 6 from winning it all. And they got a 2-0 lead heading into Indiana. And they've been a very, very good road team in the playoffs for the past few years. And I expect that to continue when they get up to Indiana.
All right, we're going to get a quick look at the sports hub headlines here. We're going to take no commercials. We'll come back. We have audio for you. We have instant reaction to the Celtics win tonight over the Pacers, now up 2-0 in the series, heading towards Indiana. We'll get right to your calls. Cerrone Battles here. I'm Joe Murray. We got Skaz as well. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
WBCFM bus from the Town Fair Tire Studio, the home of the Bruins, Patriots, Rams, and Celtics.
Come on, Maxey, step back. 3 is good.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5 The Sports Hub, the Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics win tonight, 126-110 over the Pacers. A 36-point third quarter was the difference tonight. Jaylen Brown, 40 points in the win. Jason Tatum finished with 23. Derek White also chipped in with 23 points, and he went 4 of 8 from downtown. Drew Holiday had 15 points. Peyton Pritchard had 12 off the bench. For the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton had 10 points, left the game. He was at halftime dealing with a chest injury, left the game with a lower leg injury. Game 3 in Indiana on Saturday night. In the NHL, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, Oilers and Stars tied it to Tyler Seguin. 2 goals for Dallas. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. We'll have more at Cerrone Battle coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Turner away from the ball. Siakam hands off to McConnell. Tough pass, and Jaylen Brown runs through the lane, knocks it away, goes the distance, lays it up and in, scoring the foul. A devastating sequence for the Pacers.
Bad play by Siakam.
Cerrone, I mean, Siakam was great first half. They weren't missing anything from inside the paint, so I do want to credit Pacers came out, played well, defended well, but the Celtics kept getting out to big leads. They got out to, a 20-0 run. They crept back in at a 6-point lead at half, but it was all third quarter. The Celtics rest of the way, and I believe it was a 36-point third quarter, and when they win the third quarter, they're pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah, they were pretty dominant in the third quarter. Dominant in the second half. 69 points in the second half. You know, the Pacers, look, this is who they are. They're the highest scoring team in the league, one of the worst defenses in the league. They're going to have the ups and downs. They're going to keep coming because they can score. But the Celtics took it to them. Even off of made baskets, they ran and got layups. You know, you see the Pacers getting frustrated with the refs, frustrated with each other, frustrated with the coaches, getting mad at each other because the Celtics were just beating them up court. You know, it's something you see in sports. If teams that like to run don't like to get ran on. You know, teams that like to defend tight, they don't like when teams defend them tight. And the Celtics gave the Pacers, a little bit of their own medicine, and they couldn't really handle it in the second half. And when he started yanking, the key players, you saw Siakam come out and never come back in the game. And I'm looking at them like these guys basically quit with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't understand that. And I know Halliburton went out. He's got something with his leg or whatever. It seemed like once they got down like 15 or so, they started waving the white flag. Like, we're tired, we're burned out. Let me get my guys out of here for they do get hurt. But the Celtics took advantage and didn't care. They left Tatum and Brown out there until it was like 2 minutes left. Nope, we're going to bury you and make sure you're not coming back. But it was a dominant second half. Tatum got involved. They got a lot of layups, a lot of and ones. I got to give credit to Hauser. Hauser's playing defense. Pritchett playing defense, getting deflections, getting blocks. Brissett, like you mentioned, he came in playing defense, and they erased all the secondary players of the Pacers. You didn't see anything from Turner. Miles Turner did nothing. 23 in the first half. Last game did nothing tonight. Obi Toppin and got some numbers, but he wasn't as effective as he was the other day. McConnell struggled 4 for 10, 4 for 11, something like that. They got in his face on those little pull-up jumpers. Once those secondary guys got erased, this game was over, and they had no shot at winning it. And the Celtics did what they were supposed to do in the game too, finally. And, they're moving on to Indiana, and I don't see this thing going any more than 5 games or so, especially if Halliburton's limping around or something like that. But I don't know how injured he really is.
So we have been saying this every post game we do together. The star of the game tonight was Jaylen Brown. There's no doubt about it. 40 points, just completely looked motivated after. Hey, if that's what it takes to motivate him, great. Going to an NBA final certainly will motivate him because they'll get paid too. I love seeing this right now from him, but I want to stress how much of a team win this was. I know he had the 40, but this is what we talk about every night, and I stand by it. Tatum and Brown have proven they can get there together. I think they do need the help to get over the hump. That's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get Derek White chipping in with 23 points on 6 assists, and by the way, he was great in game 1. All of his assists were mostly to Jason Tatum in that overtime. But Holiday tonight, 15 points, 10 assists. Pritchard gave you 12 off the bench. Horford had 10 rebounds and 2 steals and 6 points. And O'Shea Brissett comes in because Tillman's not ready to go, and he's been dealing with a personal issue. And Luke Cornett hurt his hand, so here comes O'Shea Brissett, former Pacer, gave him minutes tonight, 3 steals, 3 rebounds, 2 points. It was a collaborative effort, but their star was Jaylen Brown tonight. And listen to this. 24 of his 40 points tonight came in the restricted area. He was immense.
Yeah, it's the same formula as Tatum from game one. You know, people are looking at Tatum. Why is he getting so many free throws? He's getting more free throws than the Pacers. If you go back and look at the shot chart, Tatum was all you see was green dots all in the paint. I'm gonna take shots in the paint. I'm gonna get to the basket. You're gonna have to foul me. I'm bigger than you. I'm more athletic than you. I'm faster than you. I'm more skilled. There's nothing you can do. Shooting threes is just a bailout. And you mentioned Al Horford with the 10 rebounds. He only had a few points. Horford took 12 threes, I think, in the last game. Today he only took 1. Horford just stayed down low. I'm a rebound, set screens, and we're going to be more effective because of it. And you saw Derek White. You saw Jaylen Brown all get easier buckets because of sacrifices by some players. And that's a sign of a solid team. You don't win championships unless you have a good team. There's been great duos all through the history of the NBA, but you need a team effort in order to win championships. And they gave you another team effort tonight. It's always somebody different. And tonight it was Derek White paired with one of the other stars. Last game it was Holiday. You know, it's always going to be someone else stepping up. And again, they're winning these games without Porzingis. They still have a big 7-footer coming back that can get 40 on any given night himself. So as long as you can win and he's out, it's just another guy stepping up. But when he comes back in and everybody falls back to their positions, they're virtually impossible to beat, man. But it's a good win against a good team. I want nobody coming out saying the Pacers suck now all of a sudden. This is a good team, a good win. They did what they're supposed to do in game 2, in closing out games at home. This is what you want to see from the Celtics. And there's nothing more you can say, man. This is a good team basketball win.
Jaylen Brown bails out Jason Tatum. That's the headline tonight on ESPN. Sorry, kidding. I've been crushing the national media, Cerrone.
Did you see Colin Cowherd, man?
Oh, dude.
He said that all they showed is that they're not going to win the championship next year.
Yeah, next year. A dynasty.
They won't be a dynasty.
Tim Bontemps says that Jason Tatum was invisible. Who was the other guy who said that he was chicken scratch? That guy.
In game 1?
Oh, yeah, bro. And listen, if people need to spin it however they want, that Jaylen Brown is the guy and it's not Tatum, fine. I don't care. Win the game. That's why I keep saying every night, it is about the two of them. It is about the two of them, but they need that other guy, and they've been getting it. Every win, right? If you look at it, they've had a third guy. Every loss, they haven't had that next guy contribute.
Yeah.
I will. You mentioned the Pacers, and I do want to get to the phones. They had a really good game plan. I thought they were focused. Carlisle was making the right rotations. The Celtics had to switch on defense. They went with Tatum to the 5 at one point. They were knocking down all their shots inside the restricted area as well. Siakam was like 12 or 14 or something at one point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they were in the game. Mm-hmm. It was the Celtics that went off in the third quarter, and you mentioned Halliburton left the game. They laid down. 9 minutes to go. This is what I mean by front running. Yeah. They beat you up, down. And teams lay down. The Pacers laid down tonight, and this is how they can win a championship.
Yeah, they did. They waved the white flag. I mean, it's Halliburton never even came back out the locker room. I mean, you got a sore leg. Well, go sit on a bike or something. He didn't even come back out. They laid down, and you could tell when he started yanking Neesmith, Siakam came out. Turner came out. And I'm looking at him like, yo, where are all these guys at? Okay, they're going to come back in. Then they show Siakam with his jacket on, a towel around his neck, and it was only like a 14-point game. I'd be like, even 12. And I'm sitting there like, no, they're not out of it yet. And I'm like, he's not putting these guys back in. They quitting. They quit. They showed no fight. I mean, we've been hearing about the Pacers in their fight. They don't give up. They hang around. Fourth quarter came around. They just waved a white flag and sat down. Well, we'll wait till we get back to Indiana. That was the approach. And maybe it's trying to preserve his players. He knows his players more than we do. They just got through with a tough series against the Knicks. They saw a lot of injuries in New York. And maybe he's looking at his guys like, you know what? They're burnt. They're spent. We got to get them out of there. One way or the other, no matter how you look at it, they quit. I don't know what the reasoning is, but they quit. They laid down. And the Celtics just made sure that they were done. Hit a couple buckets late, get them out of there. But yeah, they forced them into quitting, and I think it was because of the defensive effort. They weren't getting back on defense, so Carlisle just said, you know what? That's it. Everybody come sit down with me. But that's what the Celtics do to these teams.
Tyrese Halliburton noticeably limping as he walked to the team bus tonight. I watched the play a couple of times. I don't want to speculate on that one, but he's sore. And he was dealing with a chest injury earlier on, so keep your eye on that one, because when he struggles, that's generally when they lose games. That was one of the things I noticed in that New York series. In tonight, 10 points. Normally when he's under that, they lose. Let's go to the phones here at 617-779-0985. We got Benny in Oxford. Benny!
Hey, Joe, Cerrone, what's going on? 2-0 lead series. Let's go.
Yep, that's right, bro.
Hey, Joe, we finally got what we wanted. We got some percent minutes, got a small lineup. Second quarter, I don't know if you noticed, he jumped in. That's when it turned. That's when that started the whole 20-year run. Just the quick energy. That's all we wanted, that small lineup for, was that energy. And real quick, before I get into JB, the only reason I'm upset with JT's game tonight is because of his words post-game saying if we would have lost, he would have been sick. I just wanted to see more energy out of him, more aggression. The missed shots, I don't care about as much, because people miss shots all the damn time. But show me some energy there. Show me some aggression, like play aggressive in the game. But to that point, this is why you have 2 stars and you paid somebody else $300 million. JB, way to carry the team and way to perform that way tonight. I love tonight's game plan. Tonight's game was not perfect, obviously, because you want everybody to go off, but I just love how we won tonight.
I just like the way that the shots weren't going down. At one point, I think that the Celtics were missing shots, but getting the offensive. They had more of a better offensive rebound percentage than an actual shooting percentage from dominating the boards early on. There, they had 10 early on, 10 offensive rebounds. But yeah, they stuck to their game plan. They missed their shots. They struggled, but in the end, they got hot.
Something he said. You pay in a second. This is why you pay Jaylen Brown $300 million. If they win the championship, isn't that worth $300 million? Like to an NBA owner, to a bunch of billionaire owners. Do you think that if you win the championship, that $300 million will be peanuts to what they'll probably take in for being known as the world champs for forever, really, for this season? But I think they will go back and say, yeah, that's money well spent, because we have another guy here that would put us over the top. If we didn't pay this guy, who knows what situation we'd be in right now. It's a lot of money to us. I mean, to them, it's a lot of money to anybody. But these billionaires, franchises worth billions that can make another billion by winning a championship, I think they'd sacrifice that. I wouldn't even say a whole $300 million, the $40 million, $45 million a year, whatever it is they're going to be paying them. I think they'll sacrifice that for an NBA championship any day of the week.
All right, 617-779-0985. Mac, how you doing, Mac?
Hey, what's going on, Joe? Listen, I could not be happier tonight because I'm going to be honest. We were 5 minutes into the game, and I was like, I've seen this 2 times before this postseason every time they lose. And surprisingly, they actually made adjustments and play with energy. And I think that the Cornet injury actually worked in their favor because he's been unplayable this series. And then O'Shea Brissett comes in. He's playing great help defense. He's getting involved with plays. He's getting steals. Generally, the only way Indiana beats you is with energy plays. They got a million guys who run around and, throw up threes, and it becomes a problem when your offense, or rather when your defense is slacking. So very happy with that. The other thing that confounds me is Rick Carlisle's decision to sit all of his guys and put in Urkel from Family Matters at the center. Why did he do that? The guy, Jalen Smith, his name is, that guy literally looks like Urkel, and he kind of plays like Urkel, too. He gets the ball and he starts flailing. So no idea why he was doing that. What I will say is that if Halliburton's out, which I think he might have re-injured his hamstring or something, because he was dealing with a hamstring injury before, I think Indy's just going to come out and just fire a billion threes next game, and the Celtics are just going to have to be ready on the boards. That's just my theory, though.
All right, Mac. Appreciate you, bro. Any thoughts on that, Cerrone?
Hey, well, first of all, you compared the dude to Urkel. He did look like Urkel, but if you remember, Urkel had game.
Urkel
could hoop. Urkel could ball. But, we said the same thing. We don't understand why he just threw his bench out there when the game was still in reach. For a team that one of the highest scoring teams in the history of basketball, you're down 12, 13 points with plenty of time left in the NBA. It's plenty of time. And he benched everybody. I'm shocked by that. I think they could have made a run and made it interesting. If they cut that thing to 6 points and made it tight, the pressure would have been on the Celtics. But he threw his bench out there and just pretty much waved a white flag. I don't understand that. But if either way, if Halliburton's out there, they're going to come out there shooting a ton of threes. Because even when he's 100% healthy, in this series alone, he's not getting to the paint, if anyone noticed. He's not getting anywhere near it. He's getting mid-range in threes, and that's it. He's not strong. He's not good defensively. They're taking it to him. That's why he's so banged up, if you notice. Every time he was grimacing, it was on the defensive end. They're beating him up. He's a thin dude. He's not physical at all.
Yep.
They're wearing him out. And it took a toll on him. He said he got a hamstring. His wrist hurts. His chest was hurting. Yeah, that's what happens when you stand in front of Drew Holiday for 40 minutes. You're going to be in pain, and it's taking its toll on him.
Good point. Halliburton's a great player. I'm not discrediting him for.
He's tough. Means. He's tough.
But younger players, right? He was in Sacramento, gets traded. This was one of the things that they worried about him, his size, durability. He's been awesome. No doubt about it. Tonight, they got their money's worth against him. He is limping back to the bus tonight. And you mentioned it, Drew Holiday. Absolutely outstanding. We'll take one more before we go to the break. Chris in Plainville. What's up, Chris?
Joe, how you been, buddy?
How you been, my man?
Good. I'm way out of practice with this, but I'll do the best I can. My favorite Celtic that they picked up over the past few year or so is White. I think the kid's clutch, and I think he can do a lot. And my question to you guys, because you're way better than me as far as the Celtics are concerned, is that can they just outshoot people? And my biggest fear is that they're not able to adjust defensively against the different teams going forward because it's just going to get tougher and tougher. And I just need to see so much more effort. I mean, they're doing great, and I'm so happy for them, but at the same time, it's going to take more. And that's my opinion. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. I thought they dug in overtime. I'll give them that. And they dug in that third quarter tonight. In fourth quarter, they were just having their way with them. So, to Chris's point, can they do that for four quarters in this league? I don't know if people can. It's a game of adjustments and runs and things like that. But the way that they've been playing ball all year, he mentioned, can they outscore people? There's going to be nights where they don't. But can they win that way? I stand by that they can.
Yeah, they've been one of the best defensive teams. Them and Minnesota have been the best defensive teams in the league. And they've also one of the top offensive teams. But one thing I think people have to understand, the last four teams left, the Celtics and Pacers are the better offenses. The Celtics aren't going to see an offense better than what they're playing now. I know you look at it and you don't see a bunch of star power. This is the highest scoring team in the NBA since the 83 Denver Nuggets. All Kobe, Shaq, Jordan, Showtime, Lakers, Steph Curry, none of them scored as much as the Indiana Pacers did this year. This is the highest scoring team in the league, the highest scoring offense you've seen in 40 seasons. And can they play defense against Minnesota and Dallas? Absolutely. They absolutely can. Dallas has star power. It's Luka, it's Kyrie, then it's 10 guys. Basically, it's 10 random guys, and hopefully one of them gets double figures. That's how they play. Whereas this team, they move the ball. They don't have one guy getting 30. They get 8 guys that getting 10 plus. They get a bunch of guys, like 6 guys average over double figures. They play pure team basketball and they score a lot. This is who they are. The Celtics might look bad defensively, but they're playing the best offense you've seen in 40 seasons. I know it's hard to believe that, but it's true. But the Celtics against Dallas, against Minnesota, where you're dealing with more of a one-man army type thing, where it's easier to focus in on one guy to slow them down, they'll play better defense against Minnesota and Dallas than they're playing now. They'll look better because the offenses they'll be playing are nowhere near as good as the one they're playing now.
For the first time since 2021, and the 9th time in franchise history, the Celtics have scored at least 125 points in back-to-back playoff games. That's good. 125 points. That's and if you watched the Western Conference last night, and I'll dig up what the final was in that
like
one.
104, 106 or something like. Yeah, I think both teams just got over 100.
Score 125 or more. I think you'll be in really good shape. We'll have more on this. We'll take a quick break here. Cerrone, we got Skaz here as well, and we will dig into the narrative nationally here because I'm curious if the Jaylen Brown thing. I'm happy for Jaylen Brown, man. We've been hard on him. Like, we've been critical. There's times where I think he skates, right?
Yeah.
When there's a pecking order of blame, it's Tatum, Mazzulla, Brown. You know, like that's
yeah.
I'm very happy for this kid tonight. I do think maybe he and I don't care about individual awards. I do think maybe he should have been on either defensive or at least third team. He was motivated tonight. You saw it. Good for him. 40 burger tonight for Jaylen Brown. We got 617-779-0985. We're here until midnight. Cerrone's here. Skaz, I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub. through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Now Jaylen driving in, takes Halliburton with him to the rim, finds the cutter for set for the two-hand slam. Timeout, Rick Carlisle.
That was a huge miss by the Pacers over and over again, and the Celtics run back on their side, score the basketball. Man, that was a huge sequence, and the Pacers could not score then.
All right, back here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's Joe Murray, Cerrone Battle, Scats. We're reacting to the Celtics Game 2 victory tonight. The Celtics checked another box off tonight. They won a Game 2, something they have yet to do in the series. So here they are now, 1-2 so far in Game 2s in the playoffs. So another box for them to check. There are some tweets I'd love to read for you in a little bit here, Cerrone. But overall, what do you think the Celtics, if we're going to be critical, where do you think we can be critical regarding the Celtics play tonight?
Oh, easy. Defense on Siakam. They played better defense on Obi Toppin, but they got to figure out what to do with those guys. Now, are they sacrificing? So you know what? If Siakam's hitting those little fadeaway jumpers, we'll live with that as long as everybody else isn't cooking. But the defense on Siakam during stretches in last game, I think it was the third quarter, he couldn't miss free throw jumpers. He was killing Al. Tonight, it didn't matter if it was Tatum, Brown, didn't matter who it was. He was killing them for a good stretch. I think at one point he was like, 14 out of 16 or something like that. 2 for 2 from 3. I'm not quite sure what he finished with, but he was hot he went on a 10-0 run by himself at one point to end the first half. So, it's defense on those type of guys. They've done it on Turner. They've been better on Turner, a little better on Toppin. Toppin still got some points here or there. But, all in all, I think that's the only thing I can really complain about. A team that scores like this, find a way to limit the easy buckets. They get too many 8-9 foot fadeaways in the lane, kind of uncontested. They're getting too many of those shots. And I think if they clean that up, some of these games probably would have been blowouts. But that's my only real thing to nitpick on with them. But it's the way the Celtics play defense without fouling. They're one of the fewest fouling teams in the league, least fouling team in the league, because they don't get ultra aggressive on some of those fadeaways that you got to give them room to land or you might hit their arm. They're pretty good at just going straight up, and if the guy hits it, he hits it. So I don't expect them to change that too much, but just kind of figure out a way to make it a little tougher on Siakam, and I think you can bury this team if you can do that.
Do you think there was maybe a coaching angle where they were letting Siakam do his thing while Tatum went one-on-one with Turner for a period of time? Because that worked in Game 1. Turner had 8 points tonight and really was just a no-show.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was strategy. Like I said, you let him get his and limit everybody else. If he's going one-on-one, then they're not skipping the ball around, spreading the wealth. Let him do his thing. If he hits it, he hits it. Of course, I believe that's a strategy because everybody who defended Siakam played him straight up. There wasn't any traps or double teams. They all played him the same. And when multiple guys are doing the same thing, to me, that says strategy. That's a decision by the coaching staff and by the players to say, you know what? We're going to take away his drives. No dunks in the rim to get his team all fired up. But we're going to let him take those 10 to 15-foot jumpers. If he hits them, he hits them. It's a similar strategy you see against somebody like Embiid. We don't want him getting under the rim to where he's getting dunks and layups. And let him take that little 16-foot fadeaway. If he's hitting that, so be it. But we'll rather him doing that than everybody else going off and him getting and-ones and getting to the foul line. And so, yeah, I believe it was a coaching decision strategy. And to that, I would say, we got to give credit to Mazzulla. Again, he's rising to the occasion. Some of the moves he bringing guys in, Brissett, making plays defensively, deflecting shots, making guys change their shots. Give Mazzulla credit for making the adjustments to these guys, this high-powered offense, and it's paying off. They're up. They only need 2 more wins, and they're moving on, so we ain't got to hear about them no more. So, yeah, we got to give them credit for their strategy and how the players are executing it.
All right, so let's discuss I just want to talk about the 40-point game. Jaylen Brown, his ascension. I think he does play a good wingman. Maybe he is the number 2. Maybe he is the alpha on the team. He had a big shot the other night. He's a leader in a different way than Tatum is. His defensive game has stepped up, right? He's, he still struggles sometimes from the free throw line, but overall, like, I just really impressed that this guy who was booed on draft night came in, has been through everything, got the big contract even after a horrific postseason last year.
Yeah.
I call it horrific because, man,
it was
bad. I mean, the turnovers
it was bad
in itself. It's just this. We're seeing the rise of the Boston Celtics. The rise meaning Tatum and Brown playing at an elite level. And although some might not think Tatum was elite or got bailed out by Jaylen Brown, I'm just glad to see one of them. One night it's this guy, the next night it's that guy. But Brown really is ascending, man, and he's starting to look. Am I getting premature when I say superstar?
Oh, he is. I mean, they look. People put Klay Thompson in the superstar category, playing with Steph. They put that man as a superstar, and he's a career 23-3 player. That's it. As good as Klay Thompson was during their height, he was getting 20 a game. That's it. 21. He'd have and in the postseason, I think all his numbers went down. He was never really great. He'd have that one moment where he'd score 40 with no dribbles. And what a superstar he is, Splash Brothers. But he wasn't a super. He was a star. He wasn't a superstar, but he was treated that way because he played with Steph. Jaylen Brown is better than that. He is. I'm gonna say it here. He's better than Klay Thompson. He's a better basketball player than Klay. Klay is an elite shooter when he was at his prime. But at the end of the day, you would look at the box score and you see, he only got 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 19 points. He's a splash brother, but he's basically a tall Jeff Hornacek. But, I mean, he gets credited like he's a superstar. Jaylen Brown compared to a lot of these dudes in the league, a superstar. Jaylen Brown, to me, I think he's better than Jimmy Butler. We look at Jimmy Butler like a superstar. I think he's better than Devin Booker, who made All-NBA over him. Devin Booker ain't played defense since high school. And you know what I'm saying? Jaylen Brown, two-way played his 2 ends to the basketball court. He defends. He can get you 40 in a playoff game. He averaged, 26, 27 last year, made All-NBA. He's an all-star a couple times over. And he's only 26, 27 years old. He is, in today's NBA, Jaylen Brown is a superstar. He's one of the faces of one of the biggest franchises in all the sports. He's been deep in the playoffs many times. He fits the criteria of a superstar. Now, if he is big on social media as, let's say, a Zion, Zion gets superstar treatment, but come on, man. What are we doing? We reward guys for their couple top 10 plays here or there, but the full body of work, Jaylen Brown is a superstar. Jason Tatum is a superstar. These are all NBA players that should be treated as such until their career starts to go downhill. But right now, they're still going up. They're still ascending. These guys are young. These are superstars. And I don't think people are going to realize it or give them full credit until they win the championship. And I think they're extremely close to doing that.
All right, I got the odds on the Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Interesting.
We'll get into that on the other side, and we'll look ahead. I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to look ahead to Game 3, the latest on Tyrese Halliburton, and how do the Pacers get back into the series. We'll get into all that coming up on the other side. He's Cerrone Battle. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Celtics now lead the series 2-0 over the Pacers. 126-110 win tonight, led by Jaylen Brown's 40 points. 14 of 27 from the field. He tonight. And I'm not. Please don't think I'm trolling. I've been trolling the last couple of nights. Don't get me wrong on the national media lately. Like
have fun, man. Have at it.
This one's quiet tonight, right? Like I haven't seen anything on social. I'm watching. I got 3 TVs on right now, and I'm trying to find some sort of national narrative. Maybe it's Jaylen's better than Jason. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So things are very quiet. So I'm interested to see, unless they're boring and this thing's over. We'll see where that one goes. But I just wanted to bring these up. Dick Leip, who works for the Celtics, he's been there for years. Here's one thing. Best record in a postseason through 12 games. The 1986 Celtics started 11-1.
Wow.
The 2024 Celtics have started 10-2. So keep that in mind. And then the highest net points. We've been talking about points. So this is regular season and playoffs. Right now, they are the 4th most all time. They're behind the 2016-17 Warriors, then the Bulls, and then the Milwaukee team with way back when in the 70s. So this is an all-time scoring team that we're seeing that is going to put up Golden State Warriors numbers after a couple more games.
Yeah. And this is what they should be doing to this defense. They should be getting to the basket, scoring a ton of points on this team. Tatum really didn't have it going much, tonight or whatever. And Al was cold in game 1. Derek White really didn't get it going in game 1. They still scored 133 in game 1, 126 tonight. They're lighting it up. They're doing it in a team effort. Yeah, the Stars had 40 and 36 in the first 2 games, but they're still getting 100 more points from other guys. And that makes you unbeatable team. You saw Minnesota last night when Ant didn't have it going. They couldn't win. They couldn't struggle. They couldn't score. They was relying on, Daniels to score, McDaniels, whatever his name is, for Minnesota, who got it going in the first half, struggled in the second half, and they just faded because their star couldn't score. Towns had a decent game, but it wasn't enough because they're not as deep. Minnesota was 18th in the league in scoring this year. 18th. They struggle to score. The Pacers score a lot of points. The Celtics are right behind them in pace and scoring, and they're just a balanced team. They're a juggernaut, and they're one of the better teams we've seen in the NBA in a long time. Their record showed it. Their postseason success is showing it, and they're being led by couple of all-NBA players, in my opinion, a couple guys all defense, and they still have who possibly is their second best player when everybody's playing at their best, and Porzingis is not even there. So you have to give this team credit for what they're doing. You have to give the coaching staff their credit. And they're just a good team, Joe. And I think the national media is getting quiet because they ran out of things to say. There's nothing more you can say about this team until they get to the finals, and then it'll start over again. But they're just waiting to see who they're going to face because they saw Ant Edwards look worse than Tatum. And now everybody's quiet. They got nothing to say. He's not Jordan no more. So they got nothing to say. So it's more of a wait and see. But if Dallas wins, it's going to be the Celtics aren't as good as Luka and Kyrie, Brown and Tatum. I trust those guys more. They're already saying Luka's better than Larry Bird. I heard that today too.
Yeah, we got that one all ready to go for tomorrow night.
That's ridiculous. Stop it. The dude has played with Jalen Brunson, who could have won MVP. He's played with Kyrie and Porzingis.
Real quick on that.
Couldn't get anywhere.
Just real quick on that. People hate the Celtics so much, right, that they have to go back to Larry Bird. Like they have to tell you that this is. I'm now wondering, do basketball fans hate the Celtics because of the history? There's got to be a reason why it's probably because they are boring, right? Like if you sit in an ESPN room and we talked about this, they're not. Do they really want to do a story on Jaylen Brown? Right, smart kid from college, from Cal, from Atlanta. Is there a real storyline here? And I think there is, because I want to pay off that Eastern Conference Finals MVP odds. Before Game 2 tonight, Jason Tatum was minus 275 to win it. Jaylen Brown was plus 500. So to the average bettor, $275 would have won you 100 on Tatum.
Yep,
100 would have got you $500. Now, after game 2, Tatum's minus 130. Brown is plus 120. That, to me, is a huge odds shift. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the story now, is it's Jaylen Brown leading them, not Jason Tatum, and I don't care who leads them.
No, it's going to be, we said this before the series started. We said this before the Cavs series. Every series is going to be somebody else's number. It's all based on the matchup. Whoever's got the matchup is going to be the hot man. The weakest link in Miami in round 1 was Tyler Hero. He's the worst defender in the state of Florida. And guess who went off? Derek White. He had the matchup. It's your turn. It's your show now. Have at it. They played against Cleveland. Late in that series, they realized nobody did check Jason Tatum. Tatum went back-to-back 33 and 12, whatever it was, triple-double to close him out. He had the matchup. You coming into this series, they got Neesmith was trying to prove to everybody that he should have been on the team with Tatum and Brown. He's all over Tatum. He's playing with so much energy. He's burning himself out. He's fouling like crazy. But Tatum didn't have the matchup. The matchup now switches to Jaylen Brown. He has the matchup. He has the mismatch. And he's taking advantage of it. They keep switching Halliburton on him and some of these other guys, and he's just pulling up over the foul line over these guys, and he's lighting them up because he has the matchup. You make it to the finals against Dallas. If Porzingis is back, Porzingis will have the matchup against a Dallas team that doesn't have a dominant center. If it's Minnesota, Tatum, last time they played Minnesota, Tatum gave Ant 45 points, crossing up towns all over the place. He might have the matchup. But this is how you win championships, by being able to switch things up, have different matchups with different opponents, and have a different guy come through at different points in times during the game, during the series, or whatever. It's all about matchups. And right now, Jaylen Brown has the matchup, and he's taking full advantage of it now. He just can't go cold, and he'll be good to go and probably will win that Eastern Conference, MVP award that they give out. I think it was the Larry Bird Award, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So it'd be fitting for him to win the Larry Bird Award.
All right, we have an update on Tyrese Halliburton. We'll get to that in a minute here. But George is in New Hampshire. Hey, George.
What's up, guys? How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Jaylen Brown's a stone-cold killer, in my opinion. But Al Horford tonight, 10 rebounds? Come on, in the background, he wants to win a championship.
Oh, yeah, and he got picked on really bad in that game 1, and he responded. We just need to take a quick break here. We'll get you that update on Tyrese Halliburton as well. And what's the deal with Luke Cornett? We'll wrap that up. Get your Game 3 thoughts coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
doubt, Cerrone, they are going to lay down.
Yeah, literally tanking the playoffs like they did the fourth quarter tonight. I mean, hey, they might show a little fight like the caller mentioned earlier. They're going to shoot a bunch of threes and try and do anything to stay in it. But, I mean, he's the one that gets them going because he moves the ball so well. He passes so well. He runs that pick and roll. He's the one that gets everybody going. But don't sleep on McConnell. He can steal you a half or so to keep them around. So if you're going to play them and he's not 100, either way, you have to come out swinging and steal their confidence early and send a message that it's going to be a long night. That way Carlisle starts yanking guys again. But you can't let them hang around at home and let them feed off that home crowd and have Obi Toppin dunking under the leg and all that stuff. You can't have none of that go on. You have to send a message early and do not let this team get a second wind and end it early. Get them over it early and move on to the finals.
And we'll hoping to get an update on Luke Cornett, who left the game tonight. Looked like he had a bad pass and looked to be holding his hand. So we will see what happens with that one. So that's it for us. Game Saturday, game on the holiday on Monday. So I'm not here, Cerrone, but hopefully when we talk again, maybe we're talking in the the NBA Finals. Excuse me.
Yes, sir. And I hope the Mavericks and Timberwolves stretch it out to 7 and play 4 overtime games. That's what I'm looking for.
I'll tell you, Al Horford could use the rest. So, and
Yes, he can.
I bet you Tatum could too, playing the 5. All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
Time to